Hey guys, welcome back. Um, First thing I want to say is trading can be so profitable for you if you just wait for your setup and you have good psychology. And really, those are the things that are honestly so hard to do. It's so simple, but it's so hard to do. If we look at my trades today, I had a absolutely horrible day in terms of being frustrated, in terms of certain things not working out. Um, it really just, I mean, there were just little things. I still traded well. I still traded very well. Um, but I wasn't as good as I could have been. I wasn't as good as I should have been, right? So first, it just started off with the first trade on MNQ. If we come back on, let me go on TradingView real quick. That way we can look and see here where I took these trades. If you look and see, I took my first trade here at around 8:36, right? So if we go on TradingView and we go on around 8:36, there's not really a setup here for me, right? Now this zone is here now because of what happened later on, but initially there's nothing there for me, right? I was just kind of taking it because I'm like, oh, like we're kind of on the previous day value area low, and maybe I can take something, but in reality, there was nothing there for me. I shouldn't have traded that area. You can see here, look at the high volume nodes. There is none, right? Or at least not how I trade at this time. So if we fast forward, there's nothing there for me. I think we're heading higher, right? But then we end up dropping like a rock later on and it stops me out. So why did I take this trade? I just wanted a feeler, right? I've seen other people who use volume profile use these areas as support, and I thought we were holding here. But that's not how I trade, right? That's basically one of the main messages I want to send in this video is trade how you trade. Do what you do, right? You know what you've back tested, you know what you've studied, you know how you trade yourself. So why are you trying to do something else? Now, for myself, I'm trying to incorporate these things, but I know what I've back tested, and I've back tested that once we form a high volume node, I want us to break away from it, come back, and then settle before we explode for another move higher, which is what ended up happening on ES and also MMQ later on as well, right? Let me pause these alerts. Sorry about that. But that's exactly what I got here, right? So my next trades were on ES and MES. I goofed quite a bit here, right? So when you go into Top Step X, I don't know why. Now, maybe this is just a me thing. Maybe you guys are fine with it. But here it shows risk and profit, right? I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the time people put their profit first and their risk on the bottom. Now, again, it could just be a me thing. Maybe it's just my fault. Um, But I thought that this was profit and this was risk. So initially, I switched it today because I've always had it on 1,000 because obviously I'm not really going for 1,000. I just like to adjust it from 1,000. But every single time that I'd put on 1,000, I'd come back here and then on the 1 minute time frame, I'm like, I can't even see. I have to scroll out or switch time frames to get it. So I wanted at least my stop loss to be, well, at least on 200 or maybe 250. I took a trade on ES. Um, Let me see if I can pull that up for you. I took a trade on ES and it stopped me out, but for a much larger loss than what I wanted. I just wanted to see if we could hold here. Let me see. So we bought one here, right? And we got stopped out, which is fine. We got stopped out, but the way that we got stopped out was where once I set the trade, my brackets set a 750 stop of 50 point or $750 stop loss. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. So I started getting frustrated. I ended up moving up my stop to where it should have been. I got stopped out. I was down like $400 on the day from the first MNQ trade and then this trade as well. I was still in this specific trade on regular ES or on regular MES because of the fact that my stop loss was a lot wider and I could have held on for a while, right? I ended up jumping back in on ES because I believed that we would head higher, and we did. I actually ended up adding a second contract here and then taking profit up here above VWAP. This purple line is VWAP here. So it was a great trade. I was up like, I ended up making all my losses back. I was down like 400 something dollars on the day. I was, after those trades of MES and ES combined, I was up about $450. So pretty much almost a $800 swing, which is awesome. If we look at the trade itself, was it a good trade? Yes, it was actually a good trade. Why is that? This is the same thing that blew me out a couple days ago, where I blew my account, where we reversed. I didn't want to acknowledge it. I thought we were still going short. I didn't want to acknowledge that we were actually switching from a short bias to a long bias, and we headed higher, and it completely blew me away, right? But this time, I took advantage of that again, using my experience, using what I've learned over the last couple of days, and obviously over the last however many years I've been trading, to understand that, hey, we're actually bottoming here, right? We have a buying climax down here. If you know volume price analysis from Anna Culling, then you know that this is a buying climax here with a hammer. I love those candles, right? And we're shifting higher. We have high volume on this candle here as well. We're on a high volume node, right? So that's providing good support. And you have prior day value area low, which we're actually holding this time, and you have the current point of control, which we're actually holding as well. I think it developed down here as the point of control. So that was perfect, right? So that trade actually went really well. Got stopped out at VWAP, and I said after that, I'm done having so many tabs open. I'm done not understanding what Top Step X is telling me to do, and I'm not going to tilt. Instead, I'm going to wait again and see if we get an actual perfect setup. That last trade that I took was a really good setup, but it's actually not my perfect setup, right? It developed well, but there's no telling. Most likely, it's a lower probability of what's going to happen here, right? Even though we're holding all of these areas and we finally did explode and go to VWAP, in reality, I like to see this explode, come up, come back down, retest, hold, and then go. And that's exactly what happened here, which I did end up re-entering on MES for another maybe $200 gain or so, right? And that's why we're up on the day about $666.42. So that one was an absolutely perfect trade. That's an A plus setup again. And that kind of goes back to my original point that if you just trade your setup, you're gonna make money. Like if you know your setup works, you trade your setup, you're going to make money. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, you're going to make money, you're going to be profitable, you're going to do well, you know? The other side of that is you have to have the good psychology too, right? If you have good psychology, you trade your setup, you believe in your setup, you have the self-confidence to actually trade well, you're going to be fine, you know? For myself, I have to believe that too. I still have self-doubt, and me blowing my account a couple days ago really kind of messed with that. Like I said last night, I was nervous on trading. Tonight, again, I was less nervous, but I was still kind of nervous, right? And it showed. I took a trade I shouldn't have taken. I got flustered with Top Step X's UI, the risk and profit. Again, that's probably on me. That's just a me thing. But we still took a perfect setup at the end, and we took probably a B plus setup before that. So um, at the end of the day, I was profitable, but I have so much to get better at. Um, I felt those feelings of greed as well as I was up quite a bit on ES as well. You know, it showed the unrealized profit was like at $1,000 at one point, you know, and I could have just taken that, but I decided not to because I wanted it to run up to my next um high volume node area right here, which it did end up going, but again, that was on my perfect setup rather than the initial setup. So I still have a lot to learn. Trading stoically is very difficult. Um, I know that I can get better. I know that I can improve. And there's so many things that I have to learn in trading, but I know that if I just stick to my setup, I know that if I just have belief in my setup and have good psychology, so that means risk tolerance is appropriate, that means take profit, zones are appropriate, that means you're taking your perfect setup every single time, or at least the B plus setup every single time, then you're going to be profitable, and I have to have that self-belief. Before I blew my account, I was up $1,600 on that combine, you know? And if I just take a regular loss on that day, right? Maybe let's say, at worst 800, $900 loss, I'm still in it, you know? You made close to $700 today. You would have brought it right back. You made however much you made yesterday. You would have brought it right back. So that's kind of why I'm like, I need to just relax, you know? Um, there's someone that I was watching today, I think her name is Trades with Jess, and she was saying that like there's always another day, and I think that's something that we all know. There's always another day of trading. That's why we keep coming back. Um, but if you really think about it, not short term, right? You're thinking about it long term. You're thinking about it like, okay, over time, how well are you doing over time? You know, how much profit do you have? Then you're going to do a lot better, right? It's not about, oh, how much have I made this week? It's about how much have you made over the last 3 months? How well have you done over the last 3 months? My trading over the last couple weeks has been so good, except for the time that I blew up, right? Besides Tuesday night, where I just completely blew up. But my trading has been so good, and even on a day like today where I got flustered, it was so much better than what it was a couple months ago. A couple months ago, I was funded, but I was one day away from a payout. I was not trading like this. I was not trading the strategy. I was trading breakouts. And it just didn't work out for me. The market changed. I couldn't trade breakouts anymore. Breakouts weren't working. They mostly don't work anyway. And I blew up, and that's why I took the time to reset and understand what I was doing wrong, understand what is the most probable setups for me using volume price analysis, implementing a volume profile as well into my trading. And now we're here, and yeah, we haven't gotten a payout. And yeah, we're still $2,100 away from passing this account, but I know that I can do it, and if I trade well, if I trade my setup and I have good psychology, I know that I can do it. So, anyway, that's it for me, guys. Again, trading stoically is very difficult, but that's why I called this channel Trading Stoically because that's what I'm trying to attain. I never consider myself a sage um, or a perfect stoic. I am a practicing stoic. So, days like today that get at me are good lessons for me to go back and journal and understand why I felt the way that I felt, um, and then improve. So that's what we're going to do. That's it for the week. I don't know if I'll make videos on the weekends. I usually just try to make videos whenever I trade. Trading full time and working full time is difficult. Um, but this is what we do, and this is why we're here to document the story of myself becoming profitable and being transparent with all of you guys, whoever's watching anyway. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Um, and yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday night or technically on Monday.